Hey, Chandler Bolt here, and joining me today is Eileen Wilder. Now, Eileen is a best-selling author, life coach, and pastor on team at her local church, teaching women how to experience unstoppable self-confidence. After going through self-publishing school, she experienced explosive success, self-publishing her first book, The Brave Body Method, on Amazon. And then just 8 months later, a publisher asked to acquire the rights to that book, releasing the book nationwide. Since then, and this is exciting, she's got national TV coverage, speaking engagements, and out front placement at Barnes & Noble. But most of all, she's had the privilege of serving more people than she could have ever imagined through this book. I'm excited to bring on Eileen. Obviously, she's been through the program, and it's just a crazy success story. And I love what she's doing. So Eileen, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Chandler. This is so much fun.
So take us back to the beginning and really what your why was, why you decided to write this book, and what was the purpose behind this book when you first decided to write it?
Yeah, well, the moment I decided I was going to write it, I was actually sitting in a funeral service out of all places. I was actually attending my grandmother's funeral, and I was hearing kind of story after story, family member after family member get up and just kind of recount her life and some hardships that she had been through, but how she had really persevered, and she was really a strong woman of faith. And I was just like having this moment. I felt like I was sitting in this pew and I was like, oh my gosh, look at what my grandmother has done for all of me and my whole family. She's really left us a legacy and encountered a lot of sacrifice to do that. And I guess in that moment, I just was having this question. I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what am I doing? Am I really contributing what I'm meant to contribute? Am I really kind of walking in the fullness of that purpose? So I really, like, right there, it's like deep inside, I just immediately was in touch with the fact that I was not delivering all I could. I was not speaking that message I felt like was in my heart. And I just decided, I was like, I'm going to go home from here and I'm going to do something. I think I want to write a book. I'm not sure. I'm just going to do some research. I'm going to investigate. But it was like this, it really was a really strong pivot for me in that moment. Yeah.
So how did you go from, I think I'm going to do something, to, okay, a book is going to be the next step?
Yeah. Like, I think I was like, I know I need to do something. I feel like I had this inkling that I kind of wanted to lean into writing. So I actually just tested my ability. I was so scared, but I just wrote a couple blog posts and I sent them out to the world and got a great response. But it was just more like a leaning. Like, I think I want to write a book. I don't know, it'd be really cool. I really kind of think I'd really be horrible at doing that, but I'm just going to trust. So I, did what anybody does now. I went to YouTube and I was like, how to write a book, just try to, I don't know, explore the space. And that was like when I found a video you did on self-publishing school. So it was so gradual. It wasn't like overnight I was like, I'm going to write a book. Gosh darn it. I know exactly what I'm going to write. I know exactly what the title, I didn't have any of that. All I had was like a leaning toward it.
Now, was there a moment when it became real for you, or when you kind of went from that leaning to like, okay, this is for sure going to happen? Or did it feel like it was just a gradual thing that slowly started moving towards the finish line?
I really struggled a lot with just like a lack of confidence. I didn't really know if I had what it took to carry it to completion. I was like, yeah, I'm a really good starter. I start things like really well, but I don't know if I have what it takes. Like, so that really was more of a gradual kind of step-by-step awakening for me. I watched several of the videos like over and over and over. And so it was like, I don't know, I'm just going to try it. So I didn't even tell anybody that I was thinking about doing it. It was a very quiet way of, I was just going to explore the space. And if it didn't work, then I wouldn't be really embarrassed. So I did not have a sharp moment of, this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to kill it. Like I never really I only got that like at the end of the class. Like when I launched it, that was like, oh my God, but no, I think I just felt I felt really insecure about the whole thing. I just didn't know if I had the message. I didn't know if I had what it took. So yeah, I'd love to say I was like so confident from day one, but that was not me. Yeah.
Did that insecurity ever go away, or was it only when you finally published the book
You
that
know,
it started to go away?
what I loved about was I was probably halfway through self-publishing school, and I was watching myself show up every day, writing the amount that we were being encouraged to write, about 1,000 words a day. And I was watching myself. So when I started to watch myself become disciplined, become focused, become just, sharper in my writing, I started then to believe in myself, like that I could do it. And then that was really fantastic. I remember kind of looking, I think I had maybe about 10,000 words or 12,000 words written. And I was like, I'm going to do this.
So was
It's
it
going to happen.
good?
Yeah, no, I was just like, I was like, this is real. This is really, I'm going to hold this thing in my hands.
So was that about a little bit over the halfway mark
Yeah,
for,
about the halfway mark. I had to watch myself. I had to watch myself just show up every day and be disciplined. And then I was like, okay. So I didn't have that track record. I didn't have that pattern, I guess, of writing to have that confidence. So I had to. So self-publishing school gave me that. Yeah, gave me that. I guess that discipline, to do it. So then I got the belief.
Got it. Now, what do you think it was that helped you, or like, was there anything that changed, any routines you had that helped you to actually like keep that discipline for multiple days in a row?
Yeah, I funnily enough, I fell into this routine where I have 3 kids and I actually homeschool my kids. So I am surrounded by noise and chaos, and just, it's awesome. It's like the ride of my life. But I was like, I do not know where I'm going to have that type of quiet. So I would wake up at maybe like 4:30 or 5 every day. And what I would do was I would leave the house and go to the gym, which I like had never done before. So I would leave the house, go to the gym, and it was like something about that pattern of, I don't know, it was like, I don't know if you've ever read the book The Power of Habit, but it was like I would come back and I would trigger to have this clear head, and I was just ready, and I would just sit down, and for an hour and a half I would just gun it. I would just write. And so I'd go to the gym, I'd come back, I'd write for that hour and a half, and then my kids would wake up. But I found that if I just kept doing that every day, like the book got finished. So it was like that routine was new for me, and that I think was game changing. It's like it's just that focused time, to be able to do, even though it wasn't a ton of time, it was just a focused time.
And did you? So I love The Power of Habit. By the way, that's such a fantastic book, and talks about the cue, the routine, and then the reward. The habit loop. So it
Yeah.
sounds like the cue was waking up early.
Yep.
Well, I guess maybe the cue was waking up early. The routine was going to the gym and then riding, and then the reward was spending time with your kids. Or maybe it was there anything
Yeah.
afterwards that was a
I
reward
guess
for like, okay, I got that done?
seriously, it was the sensation that I had finished my 1,000 words. So that sensation of being done, I would like crave that. I would focus on, I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna nail 1,000 words or more, and I'm gonna get that sense that I'm just killing it today. Like I did these super hard things, and my kids aren't even up yet. Like this, like it just. So I began to become sort of addicted to that. And my husband's like, wow, you seem kind of like OCD about this whole thing. I'm like, I know, like I have to I have to go to the gym, I have to come back, and I have to do this. So but it worked for me. That I mean, we all got different schedules, and seriously, there's so many different ways, aren't there, to like excuse away, like I can't do this and I can't do this, or I have 3 kids, or you know uh they're home with me all day, how that, but it's like there is a way to accomplish those dreams. And you just gotta believe and look for it.
Now, were there any times that you didn't go to the gym and you just started writing instead? Did that ever happen? And did that affect anything if it did?
It did later on in self-publishing school, I guess, when I got into like more of the marketing. When it didn't, the writing was a different animal for me. Like I had to really have this like creative vibe happening. Whereas the marketing was a little bit more like, it just felt different. I felt like I didn't have to have this super clear head. I could just be like, oh, I know how to do the marketing. It was more step by step or right brain left. I don't know, but it just felt different. So I did kind of break my gym habit.
Was that part easier? Did you enjoy that part more?
No, to be
The marketing
honest
versus
with
the
you,
brand?
marketing, I really love it. I think it's not a dirty word to me. I think marketing is kind of really fun and fantastic, and to just enjoy it and enjoy that message and enjoy sharing that message. And I'm also an artist, so I just loved it. I loved, yeah. So self-publishing school was super cool for me because I got that, how to break down the writing, how to get the discipline, how to even structure the book, how to, kind of format that message, but then also how to market it. So it was like, to me, it was like just dream team, both of those things. Yeah.
Got it. Now, with the change of waking up early, was there anything that you had to do? I guess two-part question.
Yeah.
A, did you have to go to bed earlier and make that habit? And then B, like, how did you keep the discipline to continue
My God.
waking up early?
Yeah. I have since tried to, like, do an autopsy of that same question several times, because so I did start to go to bed early just because I was waking up earlier. So I found my body was wanting to go to bed closer to around like 9. And I found that just, I wasn't trying to, but I didn't have a desire to sit and watch Jimmy Fallon, or, like I didn't have these same like nighttime routines. I was like tired. I was like, I need to go to bed. I'm tired. But, and then I would, yeah. So I guess that sort of changed. But then, I can't remember the rest of the question, Chandler. Yeah.
Oh,
So
just about keeping the discipline,
oh
like
yeah.
to continually do it.
You know, I I heard someone say once that until a desire becomes an obsession, you really won't accomplish big goals. And so I don't know how this happened, but I started to become like obsessed with finishing it and obsessed with achieving this goal. And I know that sounds strong, but it was like all I could think about was, sitting down and writing more, sitting down and grabbing more quotes to make the book even, just spice it up a bit. And all I could think about was finishing it. So I found, I don't know, that laser like focus just is such a gift when you're able to get it, and that's what happened to me. I don't know. I don't know how, but I was like, I'm going to bed early. I'm going to wake up, and I'd wake up and I just gun it. I mean, I was out the door. Like,
Now, did
yeah,
that discipline, that kind of keystone habit, did that carry over into any other parts of your life while you were writing the book?
I, I think it did. I mean, I felt like I was just like a happier person. And I felt there was a lot of spillover just with, I started, I started discovering better ways to like organize my life, better ways to streamline routines with my kids, better. It started to affect everything. It did that. Like, it was like a domino effect. Just that one discipline of just waking up early and riding. Going to the gym and riding. Like it. Yeah, it's still even now. So I'm 2 years later, and I'm still like a little obsessive. I'm still, it's affected everything. I don't know. I guess discipline's like that. It starts to ripple. You know.
What's been kind of the sticking or the lasting impact of that? Because obviously, you're out of the writing phase and you're out of all that stuff. Like, how has
Right.
that stayed?
Really, the thing that self-publishing school, like, and I mean, I know this is like your thing, but it it changed my whole mindset. I don't know how I had bought into this like lie. I don't know if that was a lie, but I had bought into this limiting belief that I guess I didn't have what it took to achieve big goals. And when self-publishing school kind of came into my life, it it slowly but surely started like destroying that limiting belief. And suddenly, like, I was waking up and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I can do anything. Like, anything is possible. And I'm the one that's been like holding myself back, but I didn't realize that. I didn't understand that. And so the gift that it gave me wasn't really the book. It was like a new mindset that I still have. It like locked in. And so the book really became sort of this external thing that was happening, and it was awesome and it was great. And then I had great, it was awesome, but that wasn't real. I was like, I felt different. I felt like a new person in like 60 days. Right. I mean, it was like, so it was crazy. It was really, it was life changing. It was.
Wow, that's awesome. Take us kind of through your writing, and you talked about the 1,000 words
Yeah.
every morning. You talked about having that discipline. Like, how did you form the writing, and kind of what was your plan of attack? And especially, were there any mistakes or lessons that you learned the hard way that would be takeaways for people?
Oh, yeah. Don't share your writing with the wrong people, because they will just discourage you. I think I shared it with a couple people and it just like knocked me down a little early. Um, I guess my approach to the writing was the best advice, and I know you taught us this in school, but it was just about finding just you be you. You just be you, because when you were just you and you're writing, and that voice that you would talk to your best friend in, that voice that is like just even some of the languages that you use and the way you say it, that is what people need. They don't need you imitating someone else, or they don't need you imitating this famous author's writing. They don't need you putting something on, because when you're putting something on, you're not actually delivering your best foot forward. You're not delivering your best message. It's not really you. But when you can find that space where you're just flowing and you are just talking to that one best friend, just needs that encouragement, this message, this information, this research, this life-changing, information, then you're going to really serve someone. Then you're really going to change someone's life. So the best writing advice I ever got was like, Eileen, stop trying to be, this sounds so eloquent, or, just use the simple word, just write a short sentence, just say it like you mean it. And then find that passion, find that what gets you going about this, what drives you crazy that people don't know about this yet. But if they did know about it, it could actually change everything for them. So I think that those kind of ideas really set me free from that perfectionism that I had, like, because it's very vulnerable when you're writing. And yeah.
Talk about the sharing it with other people and
Yeah.
with the wrong people. What happened when you did that, and how was that discouraging?
Jesus. So I shared it with a guy who, I knew him because he was like, he actually did editing for a living, but he just wasn't the same vibe. He wasn't my vibe. Like he didn't like get me. And because he didn't get me, he didn't get the book. So I actually sent it to him via Google Docs, came back with just, you know, edits and things crossed off, and just, you need to rework this whole chapter. You need to, you're not even making sense here. And just, so I was like, oh, just because you're an editor, or just because maybe you're, what, you do you, buddy, but like this, we're not on the same page. So I had to do a little work of just finding somebody who like got me and got my, and once that happened, then like it got better, it got sharper, it got stronger, it got more logical. So I would suggest finding somebody, yeah, she's the person that I found wasn't, she's not my same personality, but she was just enough different to make me better. Someone said to me, find a lawyer. Actually, I know this sounds crazy, but lawyers are brilliant at language and brilliant at condensing things down. So this girl was a lawyer, but she was like a cool lawyer. She wasn't like, I don't know, just super, 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 super smart. But finding her, that was also game changing. She made my writing just so, 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 so much better. Oh my gosh.
Now, when you showed it to that editor, were you already finished with the book, or was that part of the way through?
I was part of the way through. I want to say I was probably like a third. It was probably like, yeah, I want to say it was like the first four. It was devastating. Like when I got his stuff back. I mean, those are the moments you're like, yeah, I don't know if this is going to work out. Like, I don't know if, I don't know if anybody's going to get this. I don't know if anybody's going to get, me. So you start to really question, but it just, I don't know. It's just him. So then I was like, this is him. So this is not for him. And that's also another great thought. Like, you're writing your book, it's not for everybody. And some people are like, somebody told me this and I was like shocked, but they said, some people are going to just hate your book. They're just going to hate it. They're just like not going to get it at all. They're going to throw in, but that actually was really helpful that, you're just meant to speak to who you're meant to speak to. Not everybody's going to love you. Not everybody has to love you. Not everybody has to love your writing, so I don't know.
How did that impact your momentum, and how did you get the wheels back on the track, so to speak, to keep going after that?
Yeah, I like fell on the floor. I remember actually we talked on the phone after that and I was like, Chandler, this dude just told me this. And you were like, oh yeah, I know what you're feeling right now. And you were like, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. You were like, no matter what, find the fastest route to the finish line. You said, find the fastest route, just keep going and get to the finish line and send it to another editor, send it to somebody else. And that's what I did. And so I think those kind of thoughts, and it's just having someone else be like, it's no big deal. Just keep going. Just keep going. I think, I don't know.
That's huge. I remember when I published my first book, where I was writing it with my brother, and we actually have this call, it's recorded, where we're calling up the editor, or this guy that was recommended to me by a mentor.
Okay.
And we had this idea to have Breaking Our Broken System, which I've got a copy of here, which, it's like we've got the first half of the book is or white text on a black page, right? Yeah. And then the second half is black text on a white page. So the first half is like, it's my brother's stuff, my brother's take on these 15 things our parents taught us growing up. And the second half is my take. So we told him about this idea to have black and white and then white and black. He said, that's stupid. No one's going to read that. Why would you ever have white text on a black page? Like, that doesn't even make sense. No one does that. Right. And so it's interesting that, and I think this is a good takeaway for people, is there will always be naysayers. And sometimes the naysayers are people who are quote unquote professionals who are just putting you down. And then sometimes the naysayers are people around you, right? They're people who, they may be jealous that you're writing a book and they've always wanted to do that and they just don't have the guts to do it. Or they could look at what you're doing and just, it's natural. It's natural to be a contrarian because you're looking and you're saying, oh yeah, that doesn't make sense in my reality that anyone like a normal person like you and me could finish a book. So I'm just going to shut that out. And not only that, but by default, I've been taught growing up to discourage you, not on purpose oftentimes, but just because I don't understand that realm of thinking.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Which is probably exactly what you experienced.
Exactly. It is. Yeah. Like, that was super weird. I don't think I was really prepared for people to be like, why are you doing this? I don't think that this is, the right thing for you to do right now. Like, I did not realize how sometimes when you make a decision to like do something, that other people, they don't always think it's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to, I don't know, that it can either like, I think that kind of thing can either like strengthen you or really discourage you. But like, some of that put a little bit more fight in me to be like, no, no, Mr. Editor, man, like, like, I was like, he's like, do you want me to edit the rest of your book? I was like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm good, So I just, I think it can work to make you just go at it harder, go at it. But yeah, that was, people are not always going to like it. If you're like, I'm going to write a book, that does not make everybody jump for joy.
And I think that's the biggest surprise for a lot of people, because kind of what you were just saying is they might not be happy. They might not always be happy for you. Right. And a lot of times it can be simply for the fact that they're like, oh, who do you think you are now? Like, because now all of a sudden we've got this safety status that's pretty level, and like, you think you're going to do this. And if you're doing that, then that's going to change our relationship, which I'm obviously against that.
Yes. Yeah. I read that same idea. It's about loss. That people fear loss and change of relationships. So I sense
Mhm.
something's changing. I sense I may be losing you. So it's now I'm gonna try to prevent that. So
So
yeah,
let's switch gears a little bit into the marketing side of things, and I first want to chat about what were some of the things that you did to successfully launch and market your book, and then we can get into the whole second phase or the second launch, if you
yeah.
will.
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. It's like so much fun. Yeah. So one of the things that I felt like really helped was, this is so simple, but you know, when you finish, is that what we're talking about right now, Chandler? Like, so when the book is done.
Exactly. And what specifically what you did, especially with this being your first book, to successfully launch it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So one of the best things I think I did was individually reach out to anybody that I had ever met in my entire life. When the book was done, you had talked about kind of letting people know that it would be coming out, maybe giving them an advanced copy and inviting them to write an honest review if they did it. And so I remember for like 3 days straight, I went to Panera and I literally emailed like everybody I had like just everybody that I'd like had ever met. And I think that really made a huge difference because when I launched the book, I had like, I'm not kidding, I had like 114 reviews, something like that. I mean, no, maybe not like within the first day, but it got to that point just from, just like people who were just amped. They were just pumped. They were excited. And that helped me feel like I was not doing this alone. Like I've got this like, these people were cheering me on or supporting me. So just reaching out to people individually was like, I think really, really big. And then of course I did what self-publishing school was teaching us to do and posting in the forums. And I did all that, which was really, really great. I mean, yeah, it was incredible. Like I remember looking at my statistics like the second day and I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane.
What else do you feel like you did, or what did you see as some of? Because that's a great tip. What were some of the other things that you saw that were needle movers, or that were things that you felt like moved a lot of books?
Mhm. I think I reached out to a couple of my friends who had bigger platforms than I did, like just friends that I had kind of made, and I didn't know what they would say. Like I wasn't really used to kind of reaching out to really influential people, and I kind of knew these people, but I just that's another thing that I really have learned. Like people really love to help people, and never be afraid to reach out like to somebody who's especially if they have a much bigger following or whatever. So they actually reposted when my book came out, and I think that made a really big difference. So I didn't know a lot about that strategy, but I guess that's like a huge strategy that people use. Borrowed influence, and so their crowd sees your stuff, and then they'll just download it. A lot of word of mouth, people just sharing it with friends. It was, yeah. I don't remember. I don't think I did. I just ran it down. I remember I just ran down the kind of formula that you guys laid out, and it did what you said it would do.
Crazy
Yeah,
concept.
I think having a website or some kind of landing page is also really great because, people who obviously are trying to build their email list or just want to find out, say that you've got to have a way to continue the relationship. Like it's like, you've heard this before, but it's like you don't just want to have like one date and then no follow up. Like you want people to interact with your book, but then you want to be able to stay in touch with them. You want to lead them toward that second date or that next step because you want to form relationship with people. Like you want to form community. The book is fantastic, but it's just a calling card to meet these people that you're meant to impact. So I think having an email list and a landing page was really big, and so I definitely promoted that a lot.
Awesome. Now, in terms of the email list, what kind of impact did you have an email list prior to the book? Was that something that you were building, and how did the book affect that?
Yeah, I had just started. I had just, someone was like, this isn't a good idea to do. This is important. So I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but I did have a small email list when I started. I don't remember how much. It was probably like a couple hundred people or something. And then, yeah, and then, yeah, it just grew. It grew. It's still growing now. I mean, since the book's been out, like it just every day somehow people find it, through the interwebs. I don't know. So
Did
yeah,
you do anything inside the book to grow your email list,
I
or
did.
was it mostly out?
That's right. I forgot. That's right. We put something in there like a call to action. Maybe I learned that and actually I don't know if we've gotten to this part yet, but when I republished my book, I learned how to do that even better. But yeah, I did. I said, just to get like a free poster of this information or like a freebie, just go to my website. I'd love to meet you, basically. So that was great. I did the lead magnet right in the second cover area where you guys talk about
Yep.
that with the audiobook.
Beginning
Yeah.
of the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Now let's transition a little bit and talk about going from marketing and publishing the book into getting the deal, right? And I guess there was some in between time. Anything notable that happened in that time from a marketing perspective or from book sales perspective? And then what happened and how did you transition into getting the publishing deal?
I really kind of took a little bit of a break after I did the book. So I didn't really have anything pumping or going. I was a little bit like, okay, just taking a breath and going, what do I do now? It had done really well. People were still, one of the biggest things that impacted me was people writing and saying that they had read it and it had really affected them. And that I was not expecting. And this is still happening now. People are just emailing in about their story. And that's been one of my most favorite rewards. Talk about the habit loop. My favorite rewards is just like how the power of words lives on and it's still out there and people are still encountering it for the very first time. So that was happening. People were emailing in a lot about their stories. And then, and then I went to an event and a man stood up and said, I'm a publisher and, kind of, I'd love to meet you. So I didn't know this at the time, but he was very selective about, I guess publishers do this. They're very selective about who they'll take on. But after I met him, he went home and like Googled, he researched the book and he saw, he has like these ways of seeing things in Amazon that I don't know. So he saw my statistics and my downloads and the reviews and then he like called me that week. Yeah.
And then what was it from that call to signing the deal and agreeing to do a second launch and the republishing and all that? What did that process look like?
Yeah, it was like he was like, I'd like to acquire this. And I, because I'm a publisher, many people who are watching this know this, but self-publishing, you don't have the distribution channels to get. There's like over 400 distribution channels to get books into bookstores. And we don't have that luxury as self-publishing, but a publisher does based on their agreements and their contracts or whatever. So he said, I'd love to distribute this to our bookstores. I'd love to get this into Barnes and Noble, like, do you want to like work together? So I was like, wow, this is awesome. Yeah. I'd love to take this message to a bigger group of people. So to be honest with you, the book was totally done. So, I was like, here, sir, here, there was no like editing. He was like, your marketing, whoever taught you how to do your marketing, like is a genius, So I was like, well, Chandler, so it was like, it was actually really, really crazy because he started teaching me about what the big publishers do and what they're doing now. And they like don't even know much of this information that you share. I started sharing with him some of the stuff we learned about the Kindle store and the charts and how to climb the charts. And he was like, I've never heard this information. And he worked for like a ginormous publisher. So, so I was just amazed at just the speed of technology and just digital marketing now. It's just so fast and you can do so much as a self-publishing.
Now, in terms of the contract, was there negotiation on that? What did he give it to you and you're like, this looks good? What was kind of like, what made it in your mind say, okay, this is something that I want to do?
Well, there is a huge art of contract negotiation. And so I actually had another coach friend of mine. She does this for a living. So I just kind of ran it past her. But Um, it was a great deal. It was really a great deal. So it wasn't there wasn't like a lot of like, oh, I don't know. Um, and it was going to happen really fast. So he was going to get the book out in 3 months. So I just was like, and
Oh,
yeah, so I just went with it. So I wish I don't have a big story there about the negotiation. I just went for it. Yeah.
got it. Did you get an advance? Were there a guarantee? Did you have to agree to any sort of guaranteed number of copies sold, or was there anything like
No,
that?
there was no guarantees about, a minimum number of copies sold. It was very I mean, how do I say it? There wasn't he wasn't doing it was a different type of deal what he was offering me. He was because I had already published the book and it had done really well. He was offering me something called a hybrid publishing deal, which is a little bit different than a traditional publishing deal where there is, an advance ahead of time. The money comes after the sales in my situation. So it was different, but it was because I had already released the book. But it
Got
was
it.
still a great deal because what he was saying is, I'm going to open up 400 channels. I'm going to open up Barnes and Noble to you for like no money. Your book's already done. So yeah, so it was good. It was great.
What were the steps? Because I mean, obviously 3 months, 3 months is pretty
Yeah.
fast. So take
Yeah.
us through that time from when you agreed on the deal to art. What were the next steps? The republishing. What was kind of the game plan, and how did that go?
Yeah, well, he had like a team of people that he worked with, like interior formatter. So he took my stuff and basically made it look a lot prettier, my interior formatting. But funnily enough, he didn't change almost any of the language on my copy on the back or my subtitle. He has like a specialty in that, and he was like, "This is so. Whoever told you to do this?" Again, I was like Chandler Bolt, but he was like, it was just I was amazed at how much I was impressing him. Like I that was a new experience for me. He was like, this is really going to do really, really well because you've done this kind of research. You wrote your copy like this, even, yeah. So your cover, all of it. So it went really fast. Again, he has a different model of publishing where he can kind of beat traditional publishing takes up to 18 months from start to delivery. He has a different way to do it. Like he approaches agents and says, I've got a great book, push it in, push it in, push it in. So he goes fast, this guy.
Got it. Now, in terms of, because I know you guys did a lot of stuff in terms of the relaunching. So, what was kind of the marketing strategy for when you relaunched it? What were some of the things that you guys did to drive buzz and to drive sales around the book?
Yeah, well, like I started learning about the media, like so mainstream media and TV and print and radio. So I learned about like these one-page sales sheets that and I could offer that, give this as a resource to you guys, but it's like a one-page sales sheet, which is basically like what producers are looking for. They're looking for a very specific layout of a sales sheet for a book. And I realized that actually anybody can do this. Mostly PR agents do this, but anybody could actually do this. You could be your own PR agent and approach a producer of like a lot of shows that you know. And if you have this sales sheet, they're like, "Oh, this is legit. This is I need to take this." So then I learned about the process of PR marketing with TV producers, radios, print, all of that, which that was new to me. So it was like a whole different space. They operate very differently, different strategies. So, but the sales sheet was what I started learning, and then producers just basically started kind of calling back saying, "We'd love to have you on this show. We'd love to book you for this. We would love to publish your yeah." So blah blah blah. Yeah, that's kind of how.
Now, what were some of the PR opportunities that you got, and tell us a little bit about kind of
Yeah.
what that experience was like.
Yeah, that was pretty wild because they just they just loved the message of the book. So producers were like, absolutely, we would love I was talking with an agent who was helping me learn this process, and he said that he had never seen so many producers and so many people respond so quickly. So again, I think a lot of that is due to the research and the copywriting that we learned in self-publishing school. But um, that stuff really mattered. It really, yeah, they only have like 30 seconds. So this is what you got. Like you have your back cover, you have your sales copy, and that's it. And that's how they're going to decide if
Hmm.
you want a national show. So yeah, people just started responding, I guess, to it.
What were some of the shows that you got on, and how
Oh
was that
yeah.
spaced out? Was that a week ahead of launch? Was
Oh
it
yeah.
after the launch? Like, what did that look like?
All the shows ran a little bit differently. They schedule out a little bit differently, but we all tried to put the airings of the show right around the book launch, which was like February 29th. So um, I would record them earlier, and then they would air. We would ask them, "Can you hold this? Can you wait till this launches?" And the shows that I were on, they're like all on my website, but I don't think a lot of people would. There's like a billion shows out there. We did pitch to like the Today Show, and we got like a call back, which was like, my agent was like, just be really happy, like just be really happy about that, you know. But there weren't, I didn't get on any like network shows, but I did get on national shows, national TV shows, that are, yeah, you know, they're like from the Miracle Channel or Real Life, Cornerstone Network out of Pittsburgh. They're all shows that air not just nationally but internationally. So yeah, I don't know. But it was like a totally different space. I don't really watch a lot of TV, so I was like, where am I? What is this? Who are you? But it was a lot of fun. I just decided I was going to have a blast, like just have so much fun doing it. And it was great.
Now, craziest thing that happened, or most surprising just opportunity that came up as a result when you republished the book?
I think with Barnes and Noble, I found out that to get a book through to Barnes and Noble is actually like a really hard feat because of how the market is changing now and how Amazon is like taking over the whole world. So to get at Barnes and Noble an agent to take your book and put it in their bookstore is like really actually quite hard. So my agent and my publisher, when they told me that Barnes and Noble had called them back and said, you know, because as a first time author, it's like really unusual to be able to get a book into Barnes and Noble. So yeah, he said, you should just like take yourself out to dinner. You should throw yourself a party because this agent, she's pre-ordering this amount of books, which is great for us. And they're going to be in stores all over the nation. This is like a really big deal because nobody knows who you are, and she's going to take it, you know? So that was really cool for me because I felt like, you know, Barnes and Noble may not be with us but it was just like, it was really, it was fun. And now my book signing is there tomorrow, which is going to be so fun. So I just, yeah, I don't know. That was really cool to hear.
Have you gotten the chance to go in and like take a
Yeah,
picture with it or see it or anything like
yeah,
that?
yes. So yeah, no, it's like so funny because it's just a bookstore, you know, it's just like this thing, but yeah, you just like your face gets all like lit up and you're like, oh my gosh, like here it is. And you know what I mean? It's just a shelf with your book on it. But yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. Super.
Now, Eileen, this has been fantastic. Thanks for coming on and for sharing your story. Now, before we go, what would be your final parting tip for someone thinking about writing, marketing, and publishing their first book?
Honestly, I would just say go for it. Even if you don't know what you're going to write about, you don't really have clarity around the message maybe that's on your life, you don't really have it all together. You just have like an inkling. You just have like a nudge, like maybe this would be awesome. But then also think about, don't make it about you then. After you get past that thought, start thinking about how your life is meant to serve others and how you, by stepping out, are going to serve so many people through your message, and their life would be lacking if you didn't do that. So think about that and think about just the legacy that you're going to leave when you do it, because it's going to live on. So it's so powerful, and it's such an amazing ride, and just to enjoy it, just have so much fun. Don't make it stressful or perfection, you know, just be like, I'm going to just have so much fun. This is going to just be amazing.
Awesome. Eileen, it's been so great just kind of hearing your story, hearing
Yeah.
the experience and seeing your success. So thank you for coming on here today. And before we head out, where can people go to find out more about you and what you're up to?
Yeah, you can hit me up on my website, eileenwilder.com. Shoot me an email through there. I would love to just chat with you, or I'm happy to answer any questions. You know, I've had the gamut of every emotion related to this journey. So if you're stressed out or just feel stuck, or, you know, I'm happy to just be there for you. And yeah, and you can see info about my book. I have some free posters, free resources, an academy there, and all of it. Yeah. But I just love to meet you. That'd be a big win for me. So
Awesome. Eileen, thank you so much.
yeah, thank you, Chandler. That's awesome. Thank you.